Welcome to listen. I'm your host, Joe Chap, Detroit Lions News Podcast. And today we had a huge story that broke around lunchtime, and I wasn't able to make a video, so I'm going to make it now. Jeff Okudah traded to the Atlanta Falcons for a fifth round pick. A lot of people look at it and they're like, "Oh man, it was a bad, it was a bad marriage from the start." Obviously, he was a third overall pick. He never really panned out. He got drafted by a regime that was absolutely just god awful and treacherous. And Brett Holmes and Dan Campbell, they gave him a shot, and they gave him a good shot. He got a year, 2 years to prove his case. And I think what this shows, it's literally it's Brett Holmes' calling card right now. There's two things that Brett Holmes will not tolerate. He will not tolerate you progressing, and he will not tolerate shenanigans. And I say shenanigans because when Jamal Williams wanted to test the free agency market, he said, screw that. I'm going to go sign another running back who is willing to come here. And I'm not going to wait around for you, because if I wait around for you and you sign somewhere else and I wait for you and no everyone else is gone, I'm screwed. Second thing is, he obviously gave Jeff Okudah the time. And late in the season last year, he was decreasing playing time. You've seen the writing was on the wall. My co-host Tyler on the Detroit Lions News podcast, he said as much. Like, I don't think Jeff Okudah is going to be here. And I was like, I could potentially see Jeff Okudah leaving, but I could potentially see them trying to give it another go. And obviously, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and the brass decided Jeff Okudah wasn't progressing at the rate that they thought he was progressing. And this kind of messaging is being sent to the team right now. Like, you could sit here and you could be progressing, or you could be stagnant in your progression. Evad to Malafanu, Levi Onzarika, two Brett Holmes picks that have not shown anything as of yet, that they need to get their shit together. And when you look at the Detroit Lions and you look at the quarterback, Jared Goff, I think this is a message to him too, that, like, listen, you had a good first part of the year, but you were turning the ball over too much. The last part of the year, you were absolutely flawless. I want to see what you can do this year. I don't think he's going to draft a quarterback. I think they'll go get Teddy Bridgewater. But ultimately, what I think that Brad Holmes is trying to say is, yes, like, progression is the key. And if you are not going to progress, you are not going to be here long. Like, this is a team that is trending upwards. There is no room for dead weight. This is not the old Lions, okay, where the GM would keep his guy around because he drafted him and he wants to see it through. No, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Brad Holmes has shown through his years that he's been here that he's not going to sit here and wait. You're either going to do it or you're not. And he felt with Jeff Okudah that he wasn't just going to do it. And when you look at Detroit Lions and you look at Brad Holmes in the fifth round has got two starters and one guy that, if you redid the draft from the year that Amon St. Brown came out, you would have two first round picks and two top 10 picks. And I'm sure Amon Ra would go in the top 10. This is a guy who drafts exponentially well. You give him another pick to add to his nine. He's going to have 9 total picks. He's going to have a chance to really just refresh some key positions. And it's kind of a weird category for Lions fans to be in, because I think a lot of Lions fans, they're not used to a general manager being so thorough and so cold hearted when it comes to his players. And it's not cold hearted, it's just business. And Brad Holmes understands that, and that's what good general managers do, is they recognize that it's just a business, and ultimately his job is decided on wins and losses for the team and the talent that he brings in. And I obviously a fifth round pick is not great for Jeff Okudah because he was a third overall pick, but just think about it like this. Jalen Ramsey got a third round pick. Why? I don't know. Obviously, it was where he wanted to go. He wanted to go to Miami. That was readily known. So it's understandable why he went for a third round pick, but Jeff Okudah netted you a fifth round pick. Be happy. It opens up a spot for maybe the Lions to go draft a cornerback and replenish the system that they already have. It's going to be fun to see what happens down the stretch. I think that Brett Holmes is doing a great job at not showing his hand, and it's going to be a fun time for Detroit coming up. This is the Detroit Lions News podcast on Between the Whistles Sports.